Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Catherine Kelly. I want to talk a little bit about the intention that we have to place in self-care in order to make it restorative care rather than just basic self-care. I've spent a lot of time this year talking about the difference between basic self-care and restoration, and really the main difference is intentionality. What kind of intention do we put into the activities that we engage in so that we can actually take ourselves further, either in our evolution or in our ability to feel better and feel like we are restoring ourselves. And in my case, what I talk about is restoration also helps improve your soul health. It helps align us in a much more vibrant and viable way. And so I want to talk a little bit about this whole idea of the difference between basic self-care and the intentionality we place in those activities. So anybody can go out for a walk and think, okay, I'm getting physical activity. But the intention that you place behind that walk also is going to take you further. So, for instance, the other day, I walked the dogs and I was going to go down in my basement afterward to finish my workout. But it was a pretty day. I really didn't want to be in my basement. I thought, it's going to be so much better for me if I am outside, because I knew I had a lineup of clients and meetings from about 10 o'clock on yesterday. And so what I did was I went outside and worked in the yard. Got a lot of physical activity. I was moving stuff around, so I got some upper body work in there too. But the whole intentionality for me was to be outside, knowing that the winter months are coming. I'm probably not going to be able to be out there cleaning up some stuff in my yard. To me, that is very satisfying and gratifying. I was out there with wildlife. There were chipmunks running around, and there's some deer in the woods by me, and hawks and other birds that were flying above. When I can intentionally be outside and absorb the energies that are out there, it feeds me in a much different way than if I were just out there working in the yard, paying no attention to it, or if I were just, going for a walk on my treadmill and really not absorbing all of those things. So that's just one example of the difference between basic self-care and restorative care. You have to kind of get to that place where you understand, what is it that restores me? What is it that fills up my tank and takes me above where I was? Because the basic self-care is not likely to do that. It's much more kind of, like I said, basic. It's necessary, but it's not sufficient in taking us to that restorative level. So in my book, Recipe for Radiance, I really talk a lot about how to intentionally set those different levels of self-care so they become soul care, that they become a different level of restoration and restorative activity so that it gets you further. And frankly, right now, everybody is tired. Everybody is spent. Everybody is tapped out, and our reserves are low because we've been in this pandemic for 20 some months now, almost 2 years. And so we have to think harder. We have to work harder. We have to take more time and energy to plan things and to even plan our self-care. So it's even more important, as far as I'm concerned, to be a little bit intentional, or a lot intentional, on what kinds of activities are going to take you to that level. So I wanted to make sure that I emphasized it's the intentionality behind our behaviors that takes us to our soul health and takes us down our soul health path. So if you're interested in reading more about this, obviously the Recipe for Radiance book is part of this, but also just taking a little time. It doesn't take that much time to determine what are restorative activities. It's just a matter of stepping back to assess, what is it that is going to feed me? Now, I talk about, is it meaningful? Is it necessary? And does it feed my soul? And if you can't answer yes to one or more of those questions, then your type of care that you are engaging in is probably not going to help you at the soul level. It's not going to be restorative care. It might be basic self-care, but it is not going to be that deeper kind of restoration that you need. So I want to just really emphasize the difference between that self-care versus restorative care, and also kind of urge you all to take a look at that, because it will take you further. You will set a better foundation for yourself, and you basically will evolve in a much easier way if you have some of those restorative activities already in your day-to-day care. So again, I talk more about soul care than self-care, but I just wanted to give you a little extra nudge to think about how you can transform that basic self-care into restorative care. So nosh that around, really spend some time thinking about how that might be possible for you, because our soul's evolution is basically reliant on our intentionality, our consciousness, and our ability to take ourselves to that next level. And learning how to engage in restorative care is going to be taking you to that next level. So just wanted to give you that nudge. I hope this is helpful. Thanks.